Chapter 61.
You are now listening to the Chapter of the Architect with DJ Architect.
What's going on, my people? This is your homeboy once again, DJ Architect. I want to welcome you guys to Chapter 61. This is the Halloween special. I have some special guests today for the podcast. I would like to welcome the Paranormal Research Unit founder, lead investigator, demonologist, and filmmaker, Matt Benton. And we also have the co-lead investigator and audio and visual technician, DeWaine West. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I want to welcome you guys to the Chapter of the Architect. And one thing, I do have my guest co-host returning, Big Kenny in the place to be. Thank you, Kenny.
Yo.
Long time no see, my brother.
I know, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, the Paranormal Research Unit, guys, thank you so much for your time. Welcome.
Great having us. Thanks.
How you doing, everyone?
How you doing, Matt and DeWaine? How are you guys? Everything good?
Yeah, doing pretty good. Just relaxing and editing. That's about it.
Okay, yeah, you're a filmmaker as well, correct?
Yes.
That's great, man. That's great. I know that's a lot of technical work.
Oh yeah.
When I was doing research into finding a paranormal group or a demonologist to interview, your unit came up, but it came up out of a location in Southern California.
Oh yeah, that needs to be updated. I already updated it. Apparently they take about a while to update that website. But yeah, Now we are currently in another state. Actually, I started a big part of this team in Indiana and Ohio. And then I went back home to California for a bit, and now I came back because I missed the paranormal and I missed working with DeWaine and everyone else.
Oh, man. Okay. Do you feel that out in the area you're currently at, is that the Indiana area, correct?
Yes. I would say Ohio is like a big hot spot when it comes to locations. So yeah, we're right in the Midwest where a lot of locations are available to us. A lot less in California because there's a lot of businesses that own them. It's a lot harder to get access to locations in California
that would make sense.
than it is out here.
That's a lot of businesses around, and their primary thing is to make money, and the last thing they want is people snooping around and having people find out, hey, there's paranormal activity around this area. We don't, you don't come shopping here, right? But listen, Matt, first of all, I was reading your bio, and I see that you stated you believe 95% of the incidents, or what we believe to be paranormal phenomena, can be explained by natural or normal causes. I like that because it shows me that you're willing to conduct an in-depth research and not just think that everything is a paranormal incident, right?
Exactly. That's like a big problem what's in the paranormal field today. And I'm trying to differentiate away from that. Having my own team, being a part of something that's more professional.
I understand. So how many members are in your team? And give them a shout out. Tell us about the Paranormal Research Unit.
Okay. Well, right. We have Mike Diddy Jr. He's also another co-lead investigator. He was part of Dig Paranormal for a while, and then he just recently joined our team. He's been doing this for many years, longer than DeWaine and I, and he's been doing it since 1998, so that's a long time.
Wow.
And then we have Lilith Decay. It's my fiance. She's more of an explorer, has been going around many locations around the country, even the world, of abandoned locations, and she's had experiences, and then she started getting into the paranormal. She's is also a very scientific-minded person like I am. So then we have Tanya, which is DeWaine's wife, right?
Fiance.
Fiance, okay.
Yeah, fiance.
Yes, because I never got invited to the wedding yet. I was like, okay. And then, then we have she does a lot of research, and she is a writer too. So she brings that to our work.
Right.
Is a little bit more of that. And DeWaine, you could speak more about her if you want to.
And she is a sensitive. We've went to many locations in the last year, and certain areas in the locations that other mediums or sensitives have picked up at. She's picked up in those locations too.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So for the people who are listening, sensitives are. Go ahead and explain that to the listeners, guys. Mediums or sensitives. What do you mean by that?
Basically, they feel the energy in the locations and can pick up like certain vibes of things that happened in the location of the, if there was a certain death of how it happened or whatnot, they can feel that sensation of, of what happened to that spirit.
That's interesting.
So
yeah, we also have Autumn, who was the last one. Sorry, she is also a psychic and empath, is what we list her as. She picks up on things too, she says, and we're trying to put her in some blind experiments to where we don't tell her anything and see if she could pick up on something that we didn't tell her about, some information.
So you guys are in the testing phases right now to,
Well, that's what we're all about, is experimenting and research.
My man. Yeah. And pretty much checking validity to make sure that.
Yeah, I like that approach.
Yeah.
It's because it seems like a lot of people that just say, oh, I'm a medium, and people just believe it. They're just like, yeah, she's a medium because she says it and she got something right one time, and people just kind of go on with that, and that's enough for them.
Yeah.
So let's see. So you're, I forgot who it was that's defined as a demonologist.
That's Matt.
Matt. Okay. Can we define what a demonologist is?
I was going to ask him that question.
Yes.
You just took it, but by all means. No, you're good, Kenny. You're good.
I think it's good for the audience.
Absolutely.
Too.
Yep. Go ahead.
So
sir.
a demonologist. So yeah, I get this a lot. There's, I would say, different types of demonologists. For me, I am a non-religious demonologist. Most are religious, I would say, and most demonologists are through the church and everything like that. But the real definition of demonologist is someone who studies demonology. And if people don't know what demonology is, it's basically the study of demons and fallen angels and stuff like that.
Okay.
So.
Go ahead. Yeah, finish. Yeah.
So yeah, basically, I take it a little bit differently. I have studied a lot about demonology for many years, and it's basically I do take it a little bit differently because most demonologists have a religious background, but I don't. And I just am informed about demons and basically about I've done a lot of research into them and understand what to look for type things.
Okay. So what would be considered a demon?
Well, by definition, it's an inhuman entity, something that was never human before. And it usually has some kind of religious beliefs behind it, like Christian and Jewish, and actually a lot of religions. Have different beliefs in what demons are, but basically, yeah, it's just an inhuman entity. It's what people claim them to be, and through my experiences, these possible inhuman entities cause a lot of havoc in people's lives, or cause a lot of negative things to happen.
So that, I guess, it kind of begs the question beyond when you say it causes havoc in people's lives. Those people, do they normally have a religious background?
Through my research, actually, I'm finding yes. Not
could you give a percentage on that?
Oh man, through my own experience, I would say probably like 98% of them.
Okay.
That's just, I'm not giving you exact results from everyone across the country or the world.
Right,
I'm just
yeah.
going through my experiences.
Right, yeah.
So I would say like about 98% of them have some kind of religious background. And I also find that interesting because the more research I do about possessions, the more I'm finding that demons, their beliefs in demons, but they actually have a religious background for each individual that's been possessed. I have never found so far, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but so far I have not found one person that's been possessed that doesn't have a religious background. So I find that
that's
interesting.
deep
That's
right there.
interesting,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think it sounds. So I guess if I could kind of describe myself, I'm a skeptic in many things when it comes to, especially religious
Religion?
things. Yeah. So and it seems like it's pretty. How do you say? It's common amongst religious people to have a possession or an event that's happened that they'll consider. I don't know how to say, like a ghostly or something like that, like something in their house or something like that they can't explain. And me being a skeptic, I do agree that there are things that happen in my life even where I can't explain, kind of weird. Like, and
You know what's interesting? Sorry, keep going.
oh, so it's when it comes to possession, and it seems like that kind of has to have a lot of mental traction, in a sense where they probably believe their entire lives that is the way it is because they were kind of taught that. And it eventually catches up to the point where they're just like, oh my God, I think I'm possessed, or rather than a medical issue, like a mental health state or something like that.
Yes. Actually, I've come to my own theories where after doing all these investigations and learning more about how things come about or why phenomena happens, and I believe it's more associated with people in the mind, because I used to be, for example, when I was first starting out, I don't know, my activity levels of how much activity I got was so much higher, but the mentality I had then, I was like fresh in, and I was like experiencing this stuff that I never experienced before. I 100% believed in it. I didn't, I'm still skeptical minded and have been, but I feel like I am a lot more skeptical minded now than I was when I first was starting out, because I was just really wanting to capture everything. And I think I had a different energy and mindset at the time when I first started. Then doing that and being in that mindset gave me more activity. And now today I'm going a very scientific approach, and I've noticed activity is a little bit less than what it used to be. But I'm starting to realize this from a lot of new teams out there. Some new teams I've seen that go into it and they have this mindset something's going to happen or something like that, and then it does. So I feel like there's something more going on with the human mind, and this is what my next film is about. I can't give too much details about it, but at this very moment, I'm just going to say it's about exploring the mind and correlating it with the paranormal.
That's
interesting right there.
Yeah, because the human mind is extremely potent. The human mind creates your mood, your thoughts, and your reality at the end of the day.
Exactly that.
So it would make sense if you're creeping yourself out. You're like, you know what I mean? Like you're creeping yourself out in whatever situation, location. Most likely you're going to give yourself goosebumps because you're creating that atmosphere.
Exactly.
Right.
Because
but I also believe that this stuff manifests because of ourselves, though. Because this stuff that's happening is real, but I feel like we're associated with that in some way.
You know, I saw, and I don't know if DeWaine and you saw this. There's a documentary on Netflix, and it's something along the lines of possession. And at the very beginning, it was about a lady who was being supposedly possessed by the devil in Italy. I don't know if you guys seen that documentary, but at the very beginning, there was a gentleman speaking, and he says, the best way for you to stay away from entities of the paranormal and demonic, elements is to not think, speak, or talk about, or, pretty much don't think or talk about it, because you manifest those entities to come into your life. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Well, yes, I believe that people. I feel like that bringing in negativity in your life opens up some bad things, and having, like I said, mindsets earlier could cause someone's own opinion, someone's own manifestations because of their what they're bringing out. And this is why, let's name, for example, Ghost Adventures, this very famous show.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm not 100% if they're like real or not, but part of me says, like, if they are getting all this activity, it's because of the way they go about their investigations, I think. Because, they, I don't know how this is, but they're still afraid of this stuff after doing this for like almost 20 years, which
Right.
I'm dumbfounded by that. I don't understand. Because
Do you feel you become callous after a while and you don't get the goosebumps?
Yeah.
Really?
Here's the thing. When I've been doing this for 8 years now, and I feel a complete difference than when I first started into now, especially when I did my Man versus Paranormal film. I have this, like, I guess you would say, I'm numb to when things happen. I'm not as surprised as I used to be. I'm just
You're not as jumpy,
pretty much it's normal. Oh, I'm not jumpy. I've never been jumpy.
Well, I'm thinking
Even from the beginning.
I'm thinking they probably do that to keep the show interesting.
Well, that's
right?
ratings, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You're not. Nobody's
I was
going to
thinking
pay
of that
attention.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking of that
when
too.
it comes to them and those big paranormal, even like Taps, I like Taps' approach to how they start the investigation. It seems pretty like yourself, as scientific as possible, as skeptic as possible. More like when you go into an investigation, you get all the information you can. You kind of take an approach where, like, they're wrong first, because they could just be. It could be a mental thing that they're experiencing.
Yeah, it could be a house that's still settling in or old. There you
go. Exactly. That,
now, hey, so we can get Mr. West in the conversation.
Yeah.
DeWaine, how you feeling today, my brother?
Pretty good.
All right. Hey, what made you interested in becoming a paranormal investigator? And obviously, you're the visual and audio technician of the group. Could you also tell us, what that title entails?
Well, basically, I've always been into electronics and everything. And the first group that I started with back in 2012, I was the only one that had a camera. So I started out as the camera guy for the team. And then years went by, that team kind of broke apart. But I still became an investigator from just wanting to go and explore more places and check them out, from Fox Hollow Farm here in Indiana to Whisper Estates here in Indiana. We have several locations, Thornhaven Manor. I became a tour guide in 2016 at Randolph County Infirmary in Winchester.
Wow.
And that's where I met Matt at a Paracon. And in 2017, me and Matt started working together.
Paracons, those happen?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
there's Paracons.
Yeah, you answered my question. I was going to ask you, just so the listeners could find out how you guys met. Was it apparent when you guys first met that you guys would be working together?
Well, Matt was looking for some people to join his team. Basically, after he left California, he started out fresh with with nobody in his team at the time.
I don't mean to interrupt you guys. You guys hear that banging in the background?
Yeah, that's a neighbor.
Paranormal activity?
Sounds like they're no. This is a neighbor banging on something. Looks like a
that would have been cool.
Looks like a hammer.
That would have been cool if you'd be like, nope,
I got something right now.
Would have been cool, but then again, like I said, 95% of everything is something natural.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm sorry, DeWaine. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
But yeah, we started working together in 2017. In March, I started helping him out film his documentary Man vs. Paranormal. And then shortly, just about a month later, I joined the group. And we went on quite a few investigations from Bobby Mackey's to Waverly Hills. Did a private investigation.
Bobby Mackey's, that sounds very familiar.
There's it was like an old musical spot, right?
Yes, correct.
I've seen that, I think, on America's Most Terrifying Places or something.
Yeah,
like
I think I saw that on the Ghost Adventure.
Possibly.
Guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, that's been on there.
What did you guys get there in compared to what they got?
You want to answer that one, DeWaine?
Well, you go ahead. I'll let you go ahead and speak. What you?
Well, we got a lot of interesting things when it came to maybe some responses with the DeWaine's device. Which box was that, DeWaine? Did you have a name for that one?
The first box that I built was a Franklin radio out of an old Franklin AM/FM radio, so I called it the Franklin Portal.
Hey, DeWaine, thank you for bringing that up. I was going to ask you regarding recording equipment, devices to detect. What is it that you're utilizing, and could you explain how that works with with entities so the listeners could understand?
Well, basically, we use some handheld audio recorders, and then we're also using Tascam and Zoom 4-track audio recorders for better quality audio to find out if the better audio recorders can also pick up
something that a regular recorder didn't, right?
Right. Like, because a lot of the older handheld audio recorders were just for documenting your day-to-day stuff or whatnot. Those condenser mics on those older audio recorders are not as good as a Tascam DR40 that has your high-end condenser mics on them. Mm-hmm. And so we do studies with older audio recorders to today's newer digital audio recorders, and same way with video on video cameras. We use some older audio video cameras to today's new 4K cameras to see what we can pick up in that realm of the paranormal.
So with this equipment, this new equipment, you have the like the 4K ability. You have higher sensitivity equipment, and so from your experience, has it changed? Like, because things are becoming much more sensitive, is it increasing in your paranormal activity or decreasing, you think?
Okay, keep going.
I was going to say, it kind of depends on the location and the energy that's built up in the location on if and when we pick things up. And it takes hours of your recordings to go back through and to listen through every audio clip or even audio video and to see, if you pick up any kind of EVP.
Yeah. That's exhausting, man.
By the way, EVP stands for electronic voice phenomena for the people that don't know.
Right.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And then
I'm sorry, go ahead, sir.
I was going to say, when it comes to our equipment, I prefer higher end mainly because if you, for example, the lower end recorders, like there's this big popular one out right now called the RRDR60. It's very rare, and it costs so much money for something that was so cheaply built. It's over $1,000.
An audio recorder was built in the 90s. You would have paid $30 for, now is going for $2,000.
That's ridiculous, and I'm assuming it's because people put that demand on and they're buying it, and they that's the way the.
Or is it like a brand thing, like Nike?
No, it's mainly because of one thing. It's basically apparently capturing voices that other recorders can't. But here's the thing about that. I personally believe that there's a glitch or something happening with the recorder, because I've heard the same type of sounds with other people's same RRDR60 that I've captured when I borrowed one. It literally the exact same sound, and it captures. Also, you can't cross-check the audio because it only records when some kind of sound happens. Right. Cross-checking is basically going through your audio from your video camera or another recorder, a higher-end recorder, and then cross-checking it to see if there's a voice that happened on that recorder but not the other. And you can't do that with that because it's recording only when sound happens. It doesn't record the whole way through. So that's another issue with it. And then on top of it, I believe personally, there's something natural causing these random whispery sounds within the recorder itself. And that's the reason why the Japanese took them back. It's because everyone was having this issue. Wow. And
but the audio recorder has a sound activation setting where you can turn that on, and then it's already on for that one. Yeah. When you speak, it only picks up your audio, and then it will go on pause. Right. And then when this is on sound activation and it goes on pause, and you pick up a EVP in between your questions, is how they're operating this audio recorder. Right. They're saying a lot of people are getting what they say EVPs in between their questions. So having the audio recorder on sound activation.
So what you guys are saying is a lot of people are paying big money for a device that's probably not operating properly or giving off a bogus,
to its full capacity.
Yeah, or a bogus sound, which people believe to be paranormal sounds, right?
That's my personal belief. There's other people that will disagree with me, but that's my personal belief. Right. I'm not speaking for DeWaine either. This is just me. And that's why when I did a little bit more research on it, and also the audio quality is absolutely horrible. The worse audio quality you go for, the more you're going to get with so-called voices that are actually not voices. It's probably just you moving your foot, and then it makes a whispery sound because the audio quality is so bad. It sounds like a whisper on that end. And then if you have a very high quality end recorder, you could differentiate any sounds basically because it's super high quality. That's why I prefer the Zoom H4n Pro or the DR40 Tascam, because they are higher quality and you could differentiate every sound that happens. You know what it is right away when you listen to it.
I gotta say that I appreciate your guys' honesty in all of this, because I've talked to other people that have done paranormal research. Like I talked to this a couple that did Queen Mary, which was found to be doctored by the people that actually work there. But they would say everything that they have, every little piece of audio is all paranormal. And it's like, how do you really differentiate between the natural and the paranormal? And I think what he, was it DeWaine? I don't remember who said it, but there's like 95%. It's a natural.
That's Matt.
Matt. Okay, sorry. And it's and 5% is a little bit unexplainable. Which
some of it's unexplainable.
Yeah. And so if I could take a little turn here, that 5% that's unexplainable, how is that differentiated? And what do you do with that information from then on?
Well, here's the thing. We're all trying to figure this out. There's no expert in the paranormal field. And basically all these unexplained things can be explained one day if through science, hopefully. We're trying to figure it out, basically. Everything, I think, can be explained, though. It's just we don't have something – we're not having the knowledge for it yet. And we're trying to gain more knowledge. and that 5% is rare, and this is what we do this for, because it happens. And me being the very skeptical minded person, when I experienced it for the first time, I couldn't wrap my head around it, and that's what got me so intrigued about it.
Could you explain that experience?
Yeah, Matt. Let's talk about yourself and what made you become a paranormal investigator. I know I was reading your bio, and you said you had some experiences when you were young. Can you expand?
Yeah, I've had experiences as a child when I was seeing shadow people pretty much every single day. I was thinking this was something in my head. At this time, I didn't really talk about it to my family or anything. I just thought it was something that was happening in my head. And
how old were you at that time?
Oh man, I was young.
Okay,
I would say like 5 through 12 and 13, something like that. It was when I was present a lot. Even when I first started investigating, it was pretty present, but not as present as it was when
what do you mean
I was
by
younger.
What do you mean by present?
Meaning like it didn't happen as often. This was what I meant.
Oh, the things were present more often.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes, where I got to see them more often.
Now, let me ask you something, man. Were you? Because I remember as a child, my parents taking me to go see Friday the 13th for whatever reason at the movie theater, and me coming back, and I'm shitting bricks. You know what I'm saying? I've told a funny story about the first time my mom allowed me to watch The Exorcist. I was maybe 8, 9 years old, and it was a hot August summer night in New York, humidity hot as hell. I had the thick blanket on me, and my mom was like, yo, if I let you watch this movie, you better not fucking cry later on this evening talking about you want to sleep in the bed with us. And I was like, nah, I won't do it. I'll man up. And sure enough, brother, I was scared as fuck. In my mind, I saw that ugly little girl's face, and I grabbed the thick blanket and put it over my head, sweating in the in August in New York. But I wasn't going to knock on that door. She was going to whoop my ass. But going
You're
back
more scared
to
of the ass whooping.
you're damn right, than the little bitch, right? but going back to my point, brother, I was terrified of a specific visual piece of cinema that I saw. But now you, as a child, you're seeing these things in real life. I mean, that must have been terrifying. How did you deal with that, man? What were you thinking as a child as these things were happening to you? And what did you see?
Well, because I think I had this kind of mindset my whole life, but I was I didn't understand what I was seeing. And I kind of kept quiet about it, to be honest, because I didn't think other people were seeing it because no one ever talked about it. It was only me that knew about it.
Okay.
And so I kind of kept it to myself. But I saw them all the time. And also I started having nightmares as a child of stuff that a child should not be having.
Absolutely.
Like my parents being murdered and stuff.
Ooh.
And I didn't understand why I would have those type of dreams at a very young age. And they were pretty vivid. And like being stabbed to death and stuff like that. So it was pretty, I didn't understand why those things are happening, but I felt like at the time it was associated with the shadow people. Yeah. For those parts of the dreams, not the shadow people, the dream of the murdering. And then not me. It wasn't. Someone actually said that. I was like, no, not me doing that.
Oh, not you committing the murder, but something or something else.
Someone else.
Or someone else. Okay.
Masked person with black, all wearing black, and then would stab them. So basically, it was more of a human doing it, but it was messed up dreams for a child. And
yeah, brother, how did you cope with that? It's
pretty,
man. Yeah,
it's different.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been dreaming about, Star Wars and, trying to get with Princess Leia. You know what I'm saying? But
I don't know, but I think it's affected me a lot since I have a pretty dark mind.
I can imagine.
When it comes to my editing and stuff, I try and express that because I don't feel like I show that too much in person, that dark side. It's not like I'm thinking about doing any of those things. I don't have any of that stuff in my head.
I get it. I get it. Yeah,
Matt,
it's more of like.
Do you? And I don't mean to interrupt, man. I apologize, but do you? I mean, obviously, you watched the movie The Shining, right?
Yes.
You feel that
You're Jack Nicholson?
no, not Jack Nicholson, but you feel
Here's
when you
Johnny.
right when you saw that movie, could you relate to Little Man that was talking to his finger, talking about
the
red
kid,
rum,
right? Yeah,
because he was
Yeah, a
shining.
little bit.
Remember, the old man was like, "Yeah, you're shining." Right. So, in other words, when you saw that movie, could you relate to that his character?
A little bit, except I didn't see like vividly of what the apparitions. He was seeing like
Past scenes,
full body apparitions.
Yeah,
I was seeing shadow people, but yeah, kind of. And they're usually quick. They glide very quick. They don't even run; they glide, and they also disappear very quickly. There's only I would say I count on my fingers of me when it comes to me seeing them head to head, like head on, where I could actually just look at them for a moment. And that was the moments that were very intriguing to me. But all the other times, it was very quick. It was on the corner of my eye type things. So there's another reason why I was thinking that was more of in my head type thing. So it wasn't until
If I could say something, I don't know if it's personal or not, but let's see. When I was 12, I witnessed my dad die from a heart attack, right? And I saw him get pulled into the ambulance. They did CPR on him. They tried to revive him. He was sent to the hospital. And then later within a few hours, it was he's pronounced dead, right? And I remember within the next month or two, I flew back home with my mom and stuff. And I had a dream. And the dream is vivid, it is embedded in my memory. And my dad was it was weird. My dad was asleep in my sister's bed in her bedroom. And I remember I walked in and I went up to him and I touched him yo, it's Dad. What the hell? And he woke up. And he took the blankets off, and I saw him how I would normally see him at 12, at my younger years and stuff. And he said, "Yo, I'm fine. I'm good. Everything's good." And I woke up shortly after that, and that's all I really remember. So with what you see visually, or I guess is that mentally? It's. I would want to talk to a neuroscientist about that visual aspect that we get, especially in our sleep and stuff like that. How much of that do you think is just a
connection between your?
Here's the thing.
How much of it is self mental, a self-mental thing
creation?
Because I want it to be good,
right?
So I'm having this dream to tell me that it's good, a reassurance.
Or could it be a possible message from your passed away father?
Or is it the other side,
right? Like him talking to you while
whatever
you're
the
sleeping.
other side is.
I guess good and bad is all someone's perspective and their own moral beliefs. But when it comes to when it comes to your situation, you could take it any way you like. Whatever helps you in certain ways. And also, for when it comes to this, it really depends. I wasn't there. I didn't experience it. You experienced it. And so it all depends. For me, I've had hallucinations before. So I know what the difference is between a hallucination and actually seeing something.
While sober or on drugs?
No, I wasn't on anything. I was more of a moment of me. Yeah, while sober. So basically, it's something that happens. It's happened to me about 7 times in my life. It's creepy as hell. But basically, when you're going to sleep and you're at that stage of your sleep where you're just about to fall asleep, but for some reason, I don't know why I do this, but sometimes when I'm just at that moment, I decide to open my eyes. And then my brain creates things, right? So I'm in that dream state and also opening my eyes during that state.
REM state.
Yeah, and it's it's creepy because of the things I've seen. Like I've seen someone like rocking back and forth on the floor in a gown, like in an insane asylum, right next to my bed. I've seen someone looking straight at me, laying next to me, so with her eyes wide open. It was freaking creepy stuff like you see in horror films.
How much do you think is like mental capacity? How much do you think is like, I don't know, I guess if you could give a percentage maybe, like between a person's own state and the, I don't know what to call it, like the paranormal or the other side? Like how much
that
do you
one
think
I don't think, that one I can't really say because I'm not the person that had the personal experiences. So.
Oh no, from your experiences that you just.
Oh, from my experiences,
right? Yeah.
From what I've seen, I feel like I've seen more real things than I've seen my hallucinations. So I've seen like there's certain things. This is my favorite stuff. When something is backed up with our equipment, and when something is backed up by more than one witness, that's when it's even more intriguing to me, because then I know it's not just in my head. Right. This is what I was going to go to later, is what I was talking about when it came to why I got into this. Well, it wasn't until the summer of 2011 when I went to the Old Washoe Club in Virginia City, Nevada. I've had all these experiences as a child, never just even thought about becoming an investigator. I've been intrigued by the paranormal for my whole life, but never thought about becoming an investigator until this one day at the Old Washoe Club where I was in the crypt. And there was two girls with me.
Is that like a cemetery?
A crypt is kind of like a storage area
where they put the bodies, right?
Yeah, they put bodies in like this place.
Morgue?
No, it's sort of like, if you ever go to New Orleans, they have like it's almost like a mausoleum. They have a house, like a concrete home, like a little building, and the family would put their dead remains in there.
They did that during the winter.
Or 8 caskets in there, inside the.
So they wouldn't bury them; they would put them.
No, yeah, they would put them inside these little buildings. Yeah.
Well, they didn't bury them yet because it was during the winter is when they would put the bodies in there. It wasn't during the summer or anything. Okay. For the location I'm talking about, basically there's reports of a little girl's spirit and stuff like that, and so I started asking questions. For the first time ever. I've never talked to them before. I never talked to any of the things I've experienced before, but this is my first time. And then I got my first big response. I asked if there was a little girl there, if they could please move something or make some kind of noise. And literally seconds later, a piece of brick gets thrown at us. This is with 2 other witnesses at the time. And there was no one else in the area. This crypt is small. It wasn't very big. So no one can hide behind anything or something like that. And then bam, piece of brick gets thrown and it's unexplained. Couldn't explain it. And at that moment, that's when my mind was saying, I can't cuss. Never mind. Hold on. So my mind was saying,
you can curse.
You can curse. Yeah.
Don't worry about shit. Cuts, not piss.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I was about to say something. I stopped myself. So like the first time I was like, holy shit, this stuff is real. Yeah. Is what I was going to say. And that you could actually communicate with them and getting a response back. That fascinated me so much and brought all my years of curiosity to this stuff. And now I felt like I could actually get answers for myself.
It's like the nail hit the hammer. Yep.
Yes, it was my big moment. It was my big moment. And then so basically after that experience, that's when I decided to start doing this. And I was only 16 years old at the time. I decided to become a paranormal investigator at 16. And oh my God, don't look up those videos. It's the most amateur and embarrassing, cringy videos you'll see.
All right, I'm gonna look them up.
But hey, guys, let's go back and this is for DeWaine. Let's get DeWaine back in the conversation. So when Matt was talking about, and I know this because I've experienced it, shadow people. And I don't know if Kenny, if you experienced it, but
I don't think I have.
Well, I know I have. I'll be, and it doesn't happen very often. Maybe the last time it happened.
New York at the time?
No.
Those are just black
I couldn't
people,
tell
bro.
you.
Come on.
No. It happened here in California. It happened here in California, but the last time it happened was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, right? But I'll be doing something, and at the corner of my eye, something will it's a dark form, and it just goes. It's like it's walking in my peripheral.
Okay.
DeWaine, has that ever happened to you?
I've encountered a few things here and there through the locations I've been to, but being such a skeptical mind of things, you kind of, and I try not to fear none of this either when I go into any locations. Your skeptical mind kind of throws it off as it's just eyelash or something like that, or my glasses, because I wear glasses. I'm more intrigued on radio using. I kind of got into.
You mean audio?
Audio. He's more on audio,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Picking up audible sounds.
ITC. That's different.
ITC.
What is ITC?
ITC is
Instrumental
ITC
transcommunication.
Okay.
Yeah. And basically it's using a AM FM radio and scanning fast through radio frequencies, and allows the spirit to, they say, speak through the either white noise or through the audio of your device that you're using. And what we're doing is basically taking a AM FM radio and hacking the scan feature on the radio to have it scan multiple channels, and it doesn't stop. Only audio when it stops is any audio that may be picked up.
It's like a open channel radar. You're just picking up everything, right?
Right. So when you're asking questions and you go back on your audio or your video, and sometimes you hear it in real time too, which I've had my spirit box say my name several times in the last few years.
Spirit box. Is that the thing that goes like over and over?
One of them.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, so there's multiple types of spirit boxes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. A lot of people has used Radio Shack radios and hack them. There's a builder of the SB7 spirit box that Ghost of Venture uses. Yes. Taking just a regular AM FM radio, and you go in and do some features to it, and
it always embeds some sound into it.
Yeah, it's basically scanning through multiple radio frequencies at the same time.
Okay.
It's sort of like grabbing an M16 or M4 and modifying it so it becomes full auto instead of, what I mean? Right, instead of 3-round burst. Guys, and
technically, if you want to get technical, M4 and M16s are already burst, and it's AR-15s that aren't, or single fire. So,
right, my man. Well, hey, you sound like a Prime Marine, my brother. Myself and Kenny are Prime Marines, so that's right up our alley.
Yeah, that we always, every time we need to differentiate between things, we just be like, M16
right,
and M4. Yeah.
That's what differentiates it as an assault rifle compared to the AR-15s, which are not. So that's what a lot of people, especially California, get wrong.
Well, yeah, actually, M16s are service rifles.
Okay.
And I think AR-15 is also.
All right, guys, let's go back on topic. Hey, so listen.
Sorry, I'm a gun enthusiast on the side.
So are we. I don't know. I am. Anyways.
I like
yeah. Boom, boom, bang, bang. But anyways, so listen, guys. You guys were at least Matt. Southern California, you guys are your original location, in particular the Temecula Valley. And this area has long ties with Native American burial sites and battle locations. The combination of the two make it ripe for haunting and paranormal activity. When I first purchased my house back in 2011, I didn't have a cleansing for the house, but I sat with a couple of friends that helped me move, and we got in a prayer position and we said a prayer.
Like you and your wife?
No. It was like me and my buddy and my nephew, and we kind of like did a little peaceful prayer to the Native Americans within the area that were buried here. We weren't here to cause them any harm. We were in a peaceful stance, and we just wanted to grow a family here in the area, and we weren't here to do them any harm. But because I knew here in the valley there were a lot of Indian burial sites. Excuse me, Matt. When you were here in this area, did you have any experiences with the paranormal?
So these Native American burial sites, are you talking about the one I did or the one that you were a part of?
No. Well, I'm talking about the one you did. I mean, because I know there was a lot of Luceños that passed away here. So I'm talking about you in particular, your experiences within the valley.
Yes. So basically, Temecula I was at. This is back when I was a part of Soul Seekers, a different team.
Is that a group that's still in Temecula?
Yes.
Were you before you continue? Sorry, I know that there was a crew here called. There was an acronym called PIMP. Were you ever part of that one?
No, I wasn't part of PIMP, but I've heard about them.
I've only heard about them also. So, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to clarify that. Yeah.
Yeah, Soul Seekers is another group. They were on Travel Channel for. And so basically I joined that team because let's just say my first team that I created was just friends of mine and they weren't in it like I was. And so it was very unprofessional. It was and then I wanted to do something more professional because I was in it for a different reason than my friends, because my friends were doing it, for just the experiences and the thrill of it. And that wasn't me. I was more of trying to figure things out. And so I joined Soul Seekers, which with Dante Reeder. He was someone that was just as passionate as I was when it came to the paranormal. So I decided to move on and join this team. So I did for a couple years. That's when I started making actual episodes. Oh no, actually I started making episodes before that too, but a little bit better than what I was before. Yeah, so I started making episodes. That's the first time I was getting more of a professional experience, even though I had a lot more to learn still. And I was creating episodes, and for the first time, I was actually getting a following a little bit when I was doing these Soul Seeker episodes.
This is in Temecula?
Yeah, this is one of those episodes.
Okay.
Yeah, one of them was in Temecula. And then I went to the Star of India. I went to the Steam Ferry Berkeley. I went to back to Virginia City, Nevada to film a couple episodes. One of them never got released because hard drive went down. But one of them did release, so I'm glad with that. And that was the most active location I've ever investigated in my life, which was in Virginia City, Nevada. And then that episode is my most popular episode, actually, I believe. That has like 26,000 views.
So what happened? What happened there at that particular location?
You name it. Man, it was crazy. It was I've never had so much activity in one night before. It basically started off with just weird personal experiences and like being touched. I was touched there, and when I was doing SP7 Spirit Box session, and then all of a sudden we were doing the best. That was when I was by myself, and then we started getting more activity. I saw a shadow person with my own eyes. I seen a voice recorder thrown across the room. I heard a bang that was actually the cabinet door that opened up. All these experiences was happening on video too.
Now,
and then
how did it feel being touched, man? Was it how did that feel? Was it cold? What was the feeling? What was the sensation?
Well, it wasn't actually too cold. It was more of it felt like an actual person being tapped on the back. For this one experience I'm talking about. I'm not talking about any others right now. But that one experience, it was more of like just being tapped on the back. And it was when I was trying to speak to them. And this is when I was in the building by myself. I was trying to do my own isolation experiment is what we call them. And I love doing those isolation experiments, and that's actually because I had so much fun doing those experiments. I created a whole movie about being stuck in the 3 buildings by myself for 3 days.
Damn, and you got some balls, man. Lord, shit.
Yeah. Actually, for the first location, I had DeWaine take my keys and my cell phone, so I had no communication to the outside world and can't leave. So
why would you do that, man? Why would you do that?
I'm partially crazy.
Yo, I would think that would create a little bit more of a mental fuck. You know what I mean? It's like I'm stuck in this building, so things might be even more might be bigger than what they.
Right. You're,
Like,
in your mind.
Yeah.
Now
mine is just-
you're mentally manifesting more
Right.
shit than usual.
Yeah.
Because you got no way out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also
because you got no way out. Exactly
yeah.
that. Yeah.
also this though, like sometimes you get into the moments to where it's like I call it. It's kind of funny because I was joking around with some of my paranormal friends. I was like, I should rename this movie to Man versus Boredom, because holy crap,
you're fighting,
being by yourself with no communication to anyone, and I didn't.
Shit.
Every single time I forgot to bring a book because so I'm like basically my only entertainment was speaking to the entities, and it takes a long for real paranormal activity. Usually takes a long time for activity to happen, and so. So it was Man versus Boredom for a long time, but things did happen. So I got that on video, and it's going to be in the movie. The trailer's already out. It's on our channel. So
nice.
So that brings the question, I think, to DeWaine. He's the audiovisual guy, and Matt. But how many entities have you guys caught on film? Like, are there visual entities that we could see?
Will DeWaine, have you caught any before that were visual?
No. I mean, I don't consider orbs.
Yeah.
A lot of people post anything.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Oh my god!
Thank you for bringing that up.
We make fun of it all the time.
Oh yeah, there's an orb, and it looked like it went inside of something. Like, relax.
I'm not saying orbs are not that you can't capture on video, but
right, yeah.
To visually see one with your own eyes versus capturing on video. A lot of your IR cameras are going to pick up dust or moisture, and it's going to cause an orb. And
let's educate the people here real quick. So basically, orbs. I would say 99% of the time, I increase that percentage. That it is just dust or bugs, and what's happening with it is an out-of-focus dust particle going right in front of the lens, and it's being lit up by your IR light or flash of a camera. And that's what's lighting it up to make it look like it's glowing, and it's blurry. It's like looks like a so-called spirit thing is what people think for some reason because it's out of focus.
It's out of focus.
The cameras is like your eyes.
Right.
So basically, camera lenses, that's how they work. You focus into one thing. Things closer to you are blurry. If like, let's say you're like looking at a distance right now, like right now I'm looking at my door, and I'm looking at a distance, but the water bottle right in front of me is blurry at the moment because I'm focusing somewhere else. Camera lenses work the exact same way. And, whatever dust particle that is in front of the lens is going to be this blurry little circular thing because it's not focused on it, and it's being lit up by your IR light or your flash or any type of light that you're using. So,
yeah, that makes total sense. That makes total sense. Now, listen, gentlemen, when you guys, I mean, obviously, could it be said that both of you would agree that paranormal activity does exist? There is a different realm out there that does exist that today we do not understand. Maybe when we die, we will understand at that moment, but as of right now, we do not. Is it safe to say that both of you believe in paranormal activity and that it does exist?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you, Matt and DeWaine, do you both believe that there is evil entities out there set to destroy and or capture human spirits?
I don't know about capture. I don't know for sure about that, but I do believe that there are entities that negatively affect people and are negative entities. I would just say, yes, I believe in negative entities. Yes.
DeWaine, what's your belief in that?
Yeah, there's most definitely some negative energy that people pick up in a lot of the locations that we've been to.
Okay, so my next question would be is when you guys are going to a location where you guys have heard or know for a fact there's paranormal activity, is there something that you guys do to protect yourselves so those entities don't follow your ass back home?
You go first, DeWaine.
I normally just speak under my breath sometimes and just tell them you're not welcome to come with me or follow me home. I've never seemed to bring anything home at this present time that I know of. I've never had any activity occur at my residence. So
okay, what
for
about
me,
you,
it's funny actually because things are completely different to me now than what they were when I first was starting out. When I was first starting out, it was things were following me home. I felt like now I've gotten to a level to where it's kind of weird, but I feel like mentally I'm the alpha and when it comes to these entities and they don't follow me home anymore to where I don't, because of that whole mentality thing I was talking to you guys about earlier.
Yeah.
Ever since I changed my mindset, this stuff doesn't follow me home anymore. I don't feel that at all. And it's because of my personal belief. If you believe nothing's going to follow you home, it won't follow you home. And so since I changed that mindset, I haven't had anything happen.
So you truly believe that maybe perhaps because of a weakened mind state that things were following you home?
Yes, because when I was first starting out, I was thinking that stuff was possible and it was going to happen to me and stuff like that sometimes. And it did, is what I felt like. And then when it came to when I got more into this and been doing this for many years, now I got into a mindset to where I go into it knowing and saying that they're not coming up with me. It's not going to happen. and being in that mindset, I think affects it. And it's kind of, here's the thing, with exorcisms and when it comes to cleansings and stuff like that, when the people are being exorcised or cleansed, those people believe in it working sometimes. And because of those beliefs, they actually are in the mindset of that affecting change, having some change involved.
Placebo
yes,
effect.
yeah, like a placebo effect. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think it works sometimes. I feel like it's another mentality thing. And they believe, the people that are being exorcised, they believe in the same religion. That's why there's multiple different type of exorcisms out there. There's Jewish exorcisms, there's Catholic, there's Islamic, there's many. So
there's Islamic possessions?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I thought they didn't really believe that. So.
There is some, it's all over there's also voodoo related ones too.
Yeah, so like Haitian, yeah, I know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All over the country. sorry, all over the world is what I meant to say. All over the world is what I meant to say. Sorry.
Now, gentlemen, based on the Celts' belief and their ancient festival of Samhain, October 31st, it marks the night that the boundaries between the worlds of the living and the dead, they become blurred. Thus, ghosts of the dead, they return. Based off both of you gentlemen, your experiences, have you noticed more paranormal activity during this evening?
How about you, DeWaine? You go first on this one.
I've not personally. I mean, like I said, I've had some personal experiences here and there, but to say on Halloween, I'm not. No, I've never personally had an experience.
It's not heightened during Halloween.
Well, have you? How many? Okay, how many investigations have you guys conducted on Halloween?
I think I've done at least, I think 3 in the 7 years that I've been doing this.
I think 2 for me. Not very
many.
I mean,
what's your response to that, Matt?
Oh, it's. I don't know. I don't really believe like there's a specific time. Actually, I don't know. I take that back because I feel like there is more activity between 2 to 4 o'clock between that time period for some reason. What I would say a bigger percentage of my experiences for some reason when I do investigations is in between that time period. And actually I named
Devil's Hour.
Yeah. So I named my production company Devil's Hour Productions because of 333. And
that's and Trinity, right?
I do yes, mocking of the Trinity. Mm-hmm. But so basically the exact opposite time of when Jesus Christ was he was crucified. So the exact opposite time. And so apparently that's when there's more activity. And I actually do believe through 2 to 4 o'clock, through my experiences of investigating, there is sometimes more activity during that time period, which is
2 to
interesting.
4 o'clock a.m. or p.m.? Is this
A.M.
Okay.
Yeah. It's weird. It's just what I've noticed.
So, do you think the paranormal activity kind of heightens when a person's abilities or their senses are lessened? Because when it's dark, you have less eyesight perception, and the peripherals, like in your eyesight and stuff, right? So, do you think it's heightened at nighttime because it's dark?
I feel like people's imaginations are heightened more.
Right. So, have you conducted a paranormal activity investigation during the day and gotten different readings than at night?
Here's the thing. I believe it happens during day and night. And when it comes to that, comes a mental part with us. At least for me personally, that I don't get creeped out at night. I don't get, even though I'm in complete darkness. For some reason, I've been doing this so long that I don't get creeped out at all. So I know those like little like imagination things that people and psych people yourself out type thing, that doesn't happen to me. So it doesn't matter too much to me. The reason why we like to do it at night, though, is this less contamination from the outside world because most people are sleeping around that time.
Right. Yeah.
So less contamination and less light sources to debunk where the shadow came from, blah, blah, blah. We only have a few light sources usually. Right. Like it'll be from that IR camera or that camera, and then maybe a light from outside. We have like a lot less to deal with when it comes to shadows. So there's like a lot of factors involved. The reason why we do it at night, and also that 2 to 4 o'clock range. I also have some belief that there's more activity during that time. Sometimes it depends on the location, to be honest. But I would say like 65% of the time it is more active during that time period. I don't know why. It's just through my experiences, it's been like that.
And that's not based on your personal experience, but that's just the activity that you get from your audio and visual between 2 and 4.
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Hey, Matt, let's go back to your expertise in demonology.
Okay.
Now, I'm just, a little bit of research that I did just based off the film, and even though it is a film, and a human being created it, he utilized the main demon, which is as far as who possessed the young lady, Reagan, the actress, right, who played the role. The name of the demon is called Pazuzu, and for whatever reason, I feel uncomfortable saying that name. But nonetheless,
is that the name of a car?
No, that's the name of the demon, right? But doing some research on it, it's a demon that created fear in other demons. I'm assuming you're aware of this. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Expand. Whatever you got to say. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that there was like thousands and thousands of demons out there. Right. And yeah, the Pazuzu demon was actually in the first The Exorcist film. Like, you're talking about the original Exorcist film, right? Or is this a newer one?
The original one, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So actually, the real story was actually based off of a boy that was possessed. And it wasn't a girl.
That's correct.
For the real story.
Right.
And yeah, so basically Pazuzu, yes, they say you're not supposed to say the names, but again, I think the reason why so-called demons get power over this stuff is because people believe that, and they're getting psyched out about it.
Give them power, right?
Yeah, and that's like for the Zozo demon, for example. Zuzu is actually correlated with the Zozo's demon a little bit. So Pazuzu is a demon that I would say is sometimes correlated with Elijah Ouija boards sessions. So, and that's a popular belief around the country. And I think Ghost Adventures just got that a little bit more popular because they made an episode about it.
Yeah,
I've known about this.
What I noticed about it is that they a lot of apparently from ancient stories is that a lot of people would utilize the demon Pazuzu to ward off other demons because of his power, and it was sort of like the bigger evil fighting the lesser evil. Does that make sense?
Kind of like the Solomons. Like King Solomon's, I have 2 of them on me right now. Basically, it's demons that give you certain powers over certain things and stuff like that. I don't actually believe in the Solomons, what I have tattooed on me. I just like the meanings behind them.
Right.
And so, but a lot of people believe in those type of things. And for me, I not 100% yet of that these things are what they are, like what they say. When I say they, I don't know personally if it's legitimately a demonic, like from the Bibles and stuff like that, or if it's just an entity that's making up a name or knows that it's making up a demon name to scare you.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. I was like, are those considered legitimate entities as far as are they man? I mean, look, everything that's written on paper is man-made, right? But
yes.
Number one, I would ask, okay, well, who gives them the name? Who, like, it's hard for me to understand. For me, as a human being, to be like, well, I know the name of this particular entity or demon. Why did the demon say to whatever individual who's about to possess, hey, what's going on? My name is Demon so-and-so, Funky Hat. I'm about to enter your body. Let the people know who I am. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't, it's like, it's very hard. And listen, there is no way that I'm telling you that I'm disrespecting, because I hold the highest respect for things that I do not understand. But obviously throughout the years in history, knowledge has been lost. But like you said, there's thousands of demons, and they each have their own prowess and power. And you being a demonologist, obviously, do you guys hear like a rattling in the background?
Yeah, that's DeWaine, I think.
Okay.
My micro. That's my mic. Sorry.
No worries. But obviously, all these different demons hold a different sector of power and specialty. You being a demonologist and acquiring or sitting down and learning about this, how was that experience for you, man? Did you feel overwhelmed? Did you feel a sense of dread? Constantly surrounding yourself and investigating and learning and acquiring knowledge over,
right?
Technically,
or was there like a point where you were kind of studying this demonology thing and then realizing, like, holy shit, this is kind of
a different
what I'm
world.
Experiencing.
Right.
Or
I actually got into demonology because of my experiences as a child, of the negative ones I was experiencing. And that's actually how I got into it. And I don't know, my beliefs are all over the place. It changes all the damn time. Because
Okay, can I interrupt? So what is, do you have religious beliefs at all? You or DeWaine?
I call myself a spiritualist agnostic, is what I call myself.
Spiritualist agnostic. Can you define that?
So basically, I call myself a spiritualist because I have so many different beliefs from different cultures, different religions, and it doesn't qualify under one religion. And then I call myself agnostic because I don't believe or disbelieve in a God. So, so I don't have evidence for either side, so I don't know, and there won't ever be evidence for either side, I don't think. So,
okay,
that's why I'm not an atheist. I'm just agnostic. Don't know, basically.
That's
and
cool.
I used to be a Christian.
Do you not believe there's going to be evidence once you pass away for you in your spirit form? Wouldn't that be your evidence?
I don't know, because there's actually some interesting things that during investigations, I found out about some entities sometimes announcing things to where there is a God and then there's sometimes them saying that there isn't, there is. It's like another belief system, it seems like, on the other side. So it's like kind of weird. I'm going through sessions that were done from like EVP sessions to ITC sessions. So I've listened to other entities talking about it like it's another belief system.
I was going to say that. So let's explain it so the listeners could understand. It's sort of like you were preview to a conversation where ghosts were communicating and having this debate, correct?
I've seen it from other investigators, yes. And then I've also asked certain questions before for myself. And sometimes they do say, yes, there is this God. And sometimes I get the exact opposite. So it's like, it's interesting. It's like its own belief system on the other side too.
What about DeWaine? I'm wondering. What DeWaine
thank you
about that too.
Yeah, let's hear DeWaine's mind on that.
Well, I don't have a religion. I went to church and stuff like that. I'm not atheist. I guess you could say I'm spiritual. And
would you consider yourself agnostic also? Like you don't know, but don't know either. So maybe.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna follow what Matt says he is too. So I mean.
Okay. So similar boundaries as Matt.
Yeah, it takes science to knowledge to know any knowledge of anything.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree because knowledge is really not. Science is just really the collection of knowledge, right?
Data. Yeah.
Data.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Data. Yeah.
Yeah. Gentlemen, can you please explain and the difference of an incubus and succubus?
Okay. Well, an incubus is basically a male version. I think personally, I believe they're the same demon.
It is a band, yeah. A band did name themselves Incubus.
It is a band, yeah.
Why would they? I mean, good songs. Why would they name themselves that? I don't know, but I'm sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
Yeah, incubus and succubus. I actually believe they're the same demon personally, but it takes form of the incubus, for example, takes form of a male entity, male type of demon, and it's supposed to seduce you in your sleep. And for the females, so technically rape, and basically it's. I've never done any cases involving succubus or incubus personally, but I've heard about them, and basically it's a sexual demon, and it starts to get worse over time. So at first it's something more pleasurable, than the dreams get worse and worse every time, and it's kind of like a vampire demon where it kind of sucks the energy of your life out of you.
You should watch this movie called The Entity. I think it's based on an incubus,
really,
demon or something. It's pretty. That's a trippy movie.
You know, the funny thing is when I found out what an incubus is, it reminded me of Dracula. Like with Christopher Lee, like back in, like he would have his red eyes and he'd have his eyeballs on the chick. But that's what came to mind when I was like an incubus. I was like, yo, that's like sexually seducing somebody. That's like, Christopher Lee back in the
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Right. And then I'm sorry, Matt, go ahead if you can explain what a succubus is.
It's basically the same thing, but it's for females. And like I said, I believe it's the same demon. Demons don't have a sex; they take forms into what they want for you, and it's something that will also sexually assault, or not assault, I should say, taking advantage of a male, and also the same situation to where the dreams are like trying to be seductive and more pleasant in some ways, then they get worse and worse every time.
How would I get one?
Why would you want one?
That sounds like a good time.
Why would you want one?
The first
Did you hear
one
the
or
part
two
when I said it tries to suck all the energy out of you in a way where you start to feel depressed and everything?
Matt, doing the research, that's what it read. It says through time it starts to affect the health and even can cause death.
I've heard about some possession cases causing death, but it causes your mental and physical health is what demons, I think, do if it exists. And yeah, that's basically for them, that's what they do. They attach you in a sexual way, and then.
So, have you or DeWaine ever had an experience like this?
No.
No, I've had sleep paralysis once.
Hey,
Yeah, me too. One time.
I've had sleep paralysis a few times.
Listen, DeWaine, let's talk about that real quick because
I
gotta
experience.
listen, and we'll talk about that too, Kenny. The reason why I want to speak about that, I was going to bring it up, is because there's certain titles for it, right? They call it the Hat Man experience, and then they call it the witch riding you, the hag riding you. A buddy of mine was telling me that this happened to him several times within a short period window, where he would wake up and there'd be an individual with a hat, and he was paralyzed. He knew what was going on. His eyes were open, but he couldn't move. And at the bed,
you can't move.
At the foot of his bed was a man, a dark trenched coat with a hat, black, and then he couldn't move. He was just trapped. Mm-hmm. This only happened to me maybe 1 or 2 times in my younger age.
It's probably happened to me about like 4 times in my life.
Kenny, tell us your story first, and then we'll talk to DeWaine about his experience.
So I had one that was pretty trippy. That so I was laying down, and I guess the way I was laying down, my heart was like pressured against. So I guess maybe I was laying on my left side or something like that. So my heart, I was able to feel my heartbeat when I fell asleep, but I didn't really think anything of it. But after I fell asleep, after some time, I don't know what happened, but my eyes just popped open and I was awake. And it felt like I was feeling an earthquake, but I think my heart just kind of, my heart rate went up, and it felt like I was in an earthquake. And I didn't really see anything, but of course, when you're in that state of mind, you have that feeling that someone's there with you, kind of deal. And so I can't really describe like an entity per se, but I was definitely feeling there's something weird going on, and I was having that sleep paralysis, and I knew that I had that. And it wasn't until probably about 20 minutes later I was able to like actually move and get up, and it seemed like it was more out of fear. And I went outside and I asked everybody that was awake, because I happened to fall asleep before everybody else. And I was like, "Did you guys feel the earthquake?" And everybody was like, "No, what are you talking about?" Everybody was like tripping out because I thought I was having a breakdown or something. And that was just one of my sleep paralysis scenarios. But as for... Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying there's a medical information about that. They've done studies on sleep paralysis. I've had it happen to me one time. I was a lot younger. Good thing it's only happened once, because it's kind of weird. But it's basically you're awake, but your body's not awake at the moment. So it doesn't get the right signals. But I've heard of other stories to where they've had experiences of someone holding them down or something like that.
Right, like
or
something
being scratched or something at the same time it's happened. Yeah. And that could maybe be possibly involved with an entity like that. Maybe. I don't know.
There you go.
It's all theories. All of this is theory.
Yeah. DeWaine, tell us your experience.
Yeah, my experience, I had a house 18 years ago that I lived in. And I fell asleep on the couch with the TV, and all of a sudden, about 3 o'clock in the morning,
3.
I woke up
between 2 and 4, right?
Felt like, yeah, it was weird. I woke up, heart racing, like you said, and I was paralyzed. I could not move a muscle, and all I could do was look around the whole living room. And yeah, I had that experience of also feeling like there was somebody in the room with me.
Mm-hmm. But you didn't like visibly see something, but you felt
I did
something.
No, Yeah, it felt like there was something in the room, but I didn't see anything in the room with me.
Right.
But I just felt this pressure, like I was being held down. I could not move.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just really, really strange because it only happened to me once.
Yeah, I've had that like 3 to 4 times in my life where I've eyes open. No shit. I'm able to see the whole room. Yeah. I cannot. And I'm trying to tell my body
to wake up.
Move. Fucking get the fuck up. And I can't move. I'm just stuck.
That's wild,
it's weird.
That's wild.
It's a weird experience. Very weird.
Yeah. Gentlemen, we don't want to keep you on too much longer. We only have a couple more questions left so we can let you guys free and do your things. But listen, each of you, please tell us about your most frightening experience you've had during an investigation.
You want to go, Matt?
It's a little bit more difficult because I don't really fear this stuff. But I would say, you want a moment, right? You said you want a moment?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah, like, oh, fuck, man. Like your goosebumps moment. Like, oh, shit.
This is the one.
Yeah, if you go watch my show when the oh, shit moments for most people happen, I get excited. But basically, damn. Trying to think. I don't really have an oh, shit. Actually, not during an investigation. I've had one that wasn't during an investigation that was like that.
I would think your first experience would be your oh shit moment. I mean, to have a rock thrown.
Yeah, I could go with that one. I'll go with that one for
that was thrown at you, right? I mean, a brick has some weight.
It was a chunk of a brick.
Yes, yes. The thing is, I noticed that these entities usually don't. I know that they don't physically do something to kill. So it's a lot. It's like there's this rule or law system on the other side where these entities are not able to physically kill you. So,
what's yours?
They just want to physically want to scare the shit out of us.
Yes,
hey, man,
it's like that's okay.
Hey, but let me ask you something. I mean, getting a kill by scaring the shit out of you. I mean, that's the win for them, anyways, right?
Getting to be a tour guide at Randolph County Infirmary in Winchester, which used to be an asylum, turned into basically later on through its years, turned into a nursing home. When I passed the building back in 2012, I was like, man, that'd be cool to investigate that location. I finally got to investigate it in 2016. Didn't have very much happen, besides some personal experiences from the people that I invited to a birthday investigation that I done there. And then I became the tour guide and got to be in the building day after day of letting other investigators in. I had some experiences there the walking in certain parts of that location of getting the cold chills of just feeling like you just walk through something you can't see, but you just walk through something and just made every hair on your body just stand up. That kind of energy, electricity of feeling that was very strange. And then hearing, of course, noises throughout the building and trying to go and explore where that noise may have came from. Sometimes it could be explained because there was a big vent down in the basement. It was a exhaust vent, and it's got aluminum flappers on it, so when it's turned on, it opens up.
Right.
Well, the occasion when the wind would be up, going 20 miles an hour around that area because it's farmland area, you'd hear that tap or make a noise. But to hear footsteps or a door close while you're inside the building, that can really unnerve you.
I can imagine. Now, gentlemen, what do you think? I mean, we're talking about the demon portion. What do you think their objective is, as far as dealing with humans?
Finding the weak-minded people.
Yes, I agree with that so much. So
I think there's a lot of stuff that's going on right now that throughout the years of paranormal investigating blowing up like and just in the last 10 years, 15 years, just from all the shows and stuff popping up on TV. Yes, TV has to have ratings and they have to keep it exciting and stuff like that. Do we believe that 99% of the stuff that they capture is all paranormal? No,
probably not.
I can debunk some of their stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Ghost Adventures, for example, they still put dust orbs in their show.
Yeah. They love those.
Hey,
yeah.
guys, but okay,
They
so
milk those.
so
But some of the evidence that they have captured throughout the years is kind of hard to explain. Like at certain locations that they've captured stuff.
I still only like for Ghost Adventures. I think their first show is the only one that really captured my interest because they had that, just like how Matt and DeWaine had that brick thrown. They had a cinder block that was thrown, but they caught it on video, and there was a place out in Vegas or something like
called
that.
the Goldfield Hotel.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? You know what started them and got them big was the Old Washoe Club. Yeah, then one of them was the Old Washoe Club where they captured the apparition. And ironically, that happened to me. Not big, get big or anything. I'm not big, but it started me into paranormal investigating. Which was the Old Washoe Club. It's kind of like weird, like the Old Washoe Club borns people into the paranormal. It births people into the paranormal almost. Wow. It's kind of weird. It's happened to 3 people in that are now paranormal investigators because of the Old Washoe Club. So it's kind of weird.
It's like their baptism under fire. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like something weird about the Old Washoe Club.
That kind of leads me. Okay, so I want to know. I think we all would want to know, what is the other side? What is that? You guys don't have a strong religious background. I definitely do not. What you guys say you're agnostic. I'm atheist. I really don't believe in any God of any sort from any religion. But I know that there's a lot of people that do believe this stuff. But what is it? Like, how would I be able to know or differentiate between this realm and that realm? Like, what is that realm?
Well, no one can really truly know, but I can tell you what my beliefs are, is that there are other forms of energy, just like what Albert Einstein said when he says that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can be only changed from one form to another.
Sure. I love that quote. I saw that on your website. I love that quote.
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah. I mean, it could be exhausted, right? Yeah. It could be exhausted and changed into, like, what we breathe in oxygen, we breathe out carbon dioxide, which becomes energy for plants. So it's, sure, yeah, that could go on infinitely. But I mean, when someone dies, their consciousness does it get carried on? How does it carry on? It still
exists. That's what I feel. Yeah.
But where it exists, but where? How?
But where? Yeah. How does it stay alive? How does it come back into a vessel?
Right.
Yeah.
Because your consciousness is a physical aspect of your body between your brain and your synapses that continue throughout your body. Right. So everyone
your consciousness
has their own,
it's really spiritual.
No. There's a physical residence in your brain that contains your consciousness. Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't. Well, the reason why I say is this, right? The reason why I say is this is, and guys, chime in anytime you want. So your experiences, your mind, your spirit is one, and whatever you retain in as far as experience of the mind is still of a spiritual nature, but it lasts after your vessel, meaning your body, is gone and decayed.
Okay.
Right? So
there's actually, I believe that like that quote says, our energy transfers. And there was also this experiment done by Duncan McDougall. I don't know if you heard of him. It was back in 1907 when this was published, this study by Duncan McDougall. He actually weighed bodies before death.
And then
they would lose 21.3 grams of weight right after they die.
And that's supposed to be the weight of the spirit. Right. Yeah.
Maybe.
So the spirit is like a physical dance
energy. Right.
Yeah, that carries weight.
Right. Yeah, you're right. So technically, you would be right. Yeah,
okay, so if a spirit does exist in our living body, where does it go after we die? Then, I mean, if we lose that weight, that means that it leaves, right? It's gone.
Yeah.
Where does it go? How
it transformed to somewhere else? We don't know. Basically, through hauntings, we believe that some parts of it stay into locations that people have the most memories of the most time they spent. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we deal with entities that don't know they're dead. Sometimes we deal with entities that know everything that's happening, very intelligent, can interact with you. And sometimes we deal with entities that don't seem to be human at all. It's like it's a big clusterfuck is what I call the paranormal.
No, it makes sense.
I mean, I can see that. Yeah,
for something you can't define, right?
Right, yeah.
It's a big
kind of
a lot of theories.
Right? Yeah. So
and like the band Kansas, their famous song "Dust in the Wind." I know I talked about orbs, but dust in the wind. I mean, our energy is it's manifesting into a different form from our bodies into the spiritual realm.
Mm-hmm. Guys, so, if like I said, we don't want to keep you on here much longer. If there were someone who feels that they have paranormal activity around them or in their home, and let's say they feel it's an evil, or that paranormal activity is there to do them harm, what advice would you give them?
I would give them this advice: go for whatever you truly believe in. What you truly believe, meaning that you have no doubt in your mind, saying so. You're going like I've found out how to get rid of it myself, but it's because of my own personal belief, and I 100% believe in it now. And so when it comes to other people, if you have a religion and you really believe in that, well, go like if you believe in Jesus Christ and you believe he can help you, then you can go for that belief. For me, I go for my own personal belief where I just mentally know that they can't do it and won't be able to because I am not letting them. And it works for me. So if someone believes in something very strongly, I think that's what manifests anything that's possible. That's just my personal theory. And you could take it how you want it, but if you just believe stronger in what you believe in, is basically what I'm saying.
Believe you're stronger than the entity. DeWaine, what's your thoughts?
Exactly. I mean, like I said, fear of anything can take over the mind, and can cause more damage to the mind than anything in this type of field of investigating the paranormal.
There you go. Kenny, do you have one last question for these gentlemen before we let them go?
Man, sheesh. I would want to, but I mean, you kind of like you've answered a lot of my questions, kind of indirectly. So it's like if I mean, everyone that I asked that would want to ask you these questions, are asking for like definitive proof and stuff like that. But you guys kind of answered all of those indirectly. So
for definitive proof, well, that's a bit different because that's something that you need to collect data on, something that needs to be presented. And that's what proof is. And that's what's harder to get. But EVPs, for example, I think we've gathered enough data to prove its existence of that phenomena happening. Because there's this called the RVPR setup, and made by Roundtree. And he pretty much has a 4-channel recorder, which is what DeWaine and I have. And you put a shotgun mic attached to it with a MagCheck 95 sensor. MagCheck 95 sensor.
What is a shotgun mic? Just kind of getting it from all angles?
A shotgun mic is basically a mic that is make it more crisp audio.
Condenser mic.
Yeah, it's a condenser mic that pretty much kind of it's like a 160 degree, I believe it was. Don't quote me on that. I could have that wrong. Okay. But a better crisp audio from it's basically meant for filmmaking. But the good thing about shotgun mics is that in theory, we believe that EMF is associated with the paranormal, and electromagnetic energy can manipulate a shotgun mic a lot easier than, for example, our 4-channel recorders. They have a better shielding towards that type of stuff. Right. So if you have a shotgun mic that is connected to your 4-channel recorder and you capture an EVP, an electronic voice phenomena, through that shotgun mic, but not through the stereo mic on the recorder, you are validating some kind of audio manipulation that just happened because it wasn't captured on the other one. And guess what? It's going to the same exact SD card. And if you save that SD card, the media code data tells you if the audio is raw or not, like it's the raw audio. Because if you go edit the audio, the media code data is going to change. Right. It's going to be different. So you can actually prove that audio manipulation exists if one audio is capturing something that the other one isn't. That's side by side. Sure. And also the MagCheck 95 sensor is an extra piece that I like to put in. So it records the sound of EMF also. So seeing if it's EMF is associated with EVPs, that can also gather a little bit of data. So
like some of the equipment that we use, from a millimeter to a K2 meter, when you get around high EMF stuff, meaning like high electrical, say your microwave, your oven, your electrical box, those will detect high EMF and will give you a number of how much EMF you're picking up on that device of what that device is putting out. Right. And then there's some people that are susceptible of feeling EMF when they get around an electrical box. They'll feel the EMF in their body.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
And that being around high EMF readings for a very long time could cause hallucinations.
Yeah. Paranoia.
Or certain
paranoia, other cause.
Right.
I don't know about hallucinations first. I think the hallucination part is because of their paranoia and it's them creating the hallucinations. But but the paranoia part, yes, because you're feeling something weird. For example, DeWaine, when we went to the Monroe house for the first time, I was feeling some kind of weird difference when I stepped through the doorway of where all the Ouija board stuff is and everything like that. And I even told DeWaine and mentioned this, and then I got my millimeter out, and that detects EMF, and REM has a REM thing around it too. What was that tool again?
Can you say that tool again?
It's called a millimeter.
Millimeter?
Yeah, millimeter. Yeah.
Like a...
it's just MEL and then meter. It's MEL stands for Melissa, for the person that created it, from Gary Galka. He created that device because of her daughter that passed away. And so named it MEL, and then the millimeter. So, and so basically, this device detects EMF, and sure enough, there was EMF where I was standing through this electrical. I think it was a temperature gauge for changing the temperature in the
thermostat.
It was a thermostat, and and so basically that was giving off a lot of EMF, and I felt that myself, just my own body, and I noticed that, and that's why I got the millimeter out. But there was a natural cause for that. So yes, our bodies can feel those things of a lot of EMF around you, and those could cause those type of emotions sometimes. Some people are more sensitive to it. Some people don't feel it at all. But me doing this for so long, I feel EMF differences in the area.
You know whether it's natural or not.
Not at the time. It's until I get my devices out and I figure that out.
Okay.
I'm not a medium or anything. I'm sensitive to EMF. I could sense differences
like
in
the whole
energy.
magnetic fields. I think a lot of people can feel like I feel kind of weird, like my hair's standing up. Why is it standing up? And then you're like, you look around the corner, you're like, oh, there's a.
And sometimes it's not explainable.
Yeah.
What's interesting is sometimes it's not explainable, and you've already did your readings of the area, and there's nothing there. So that's when it gets interesting.
Weird,
yeah, exactly.
Absolutely, gentlemen. How can people get in contact with your research team? How can they get in contact with the Paranormal Research Unit?
Well, we do have our website. It's called www.paranormalresearchunit.com. And we also have our YouTube channel, which is where you can check our episodes, our videos that are releasing, which is called Devil's Hour Productions, is our YouTube channel name. So, and we have a Facebook page, Paranormal Research Unit. So you can follow us all there. Instagram also, paranormal.research.unit is
Twitter. We have Twitter also.
Oh yeah, I forgot the Twitter was created. I'm not using that one, but it was just recently created by one of our teams. I've never used Twitter.
Twitter. Yeah, I totally understand.
Great. Yeah.
I totally understand. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Chapter 61. A big thanks to my co-host Kenny, and a big thanks to Matt Benton and DeWaine West from the Paranormal Research Unit. Gentlemen, thank you for your expertise. Thank you for your stories and your experiences. Thank you for your time. A great pleasure, guys. Listen, you guys are always welcome back on the Chapter of the Architect. You guys have more stories, more videos, more episodes coming back. We love to have you back. It was a pleasure having you guys on.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure for us too.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
I'm glad we educated you guys.
Absolutely.
Educate everyone that's listening.
And the people listening to the podcast. Absolutely, guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, you guys have a happy and safe Halloween. We will be back here shortly, but this has been Chapter 61 with Matt Benton and DeWaine West, Paranormal Research Unit, DJ Architect, and Kenny Ken. We are out. Peace.
DJ Architect.